Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening to this. It's another episode of Four Doors and GT4s. And I'm Stu, joined as always by Mr. Aaron Pfeiffer. Aaron, I'm live on location in Indianapolis. You are not yet in Indianapolis, but how's it going tonight?
I know. Well, I am. I'm getting shown up by you and your earliness to Indianapolis. Yeah, I'm still a couple days away from being in Indy, but I'm very good, very excited that it's race week. Feels like it's been a while since this is the longest break we've had since like pre-Laguna, I think. So yeah, almost what 3 weeks here. So yeah, ready to get after it this weekend and ready to get to Indy, and this is your first time at Indy, correct?
It is. It is. Rolled into When I rolled into Indy this
Nice.
afternoon, it was first time that I had set foot here. So I haven't swung by the track yet. I'll think I'm going to try and go to the check out the museum tomorrow, and yeah, check that out. So it's cool. Glad to be here. Bit of a hike from Toronto, but yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Hope
Yeah, I don't think I'll have time this time, but I am definitely excited to see the remodeled museum. I saw it obviously before the remodel a couple of years ago, but yeah, it looks like it's very cool now.
Yeah, it's yeah. I was actually in a grocery store this afternoon, and one of the people that worked there was like, you're not from around here, and and
Because you asked
you
for
know,
where the milk in a bag was.
yeah. I was like, yeah, where's your bagged milk?
Yeah.
Um, no, he was as soon as I said that I was here for the race, he said, "Oh, you got to go and check out the museum. They remodeled it and it's great." So yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully be able to do that tomorrow. I never even thought that, like, do I have to get tickets beforehand? I wouldn't
No.
imagine, but
You can just
okay.
walk right up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I was worried that, maybe it'd be a hot spot, but yeah. So looking forward to that. But we're not we are gonna touch on Indy, but we're here to focus on not the IndyCar museum that's there. We're going to be focusing on the IMSA racing that's going to be going on this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. And I guess before we get to that, we haven't had an episode since VIR, have we? So we should probably
Yep.
touch on what happened at VIR, even though, as I was saying to you beforehand, I watched that race, but I don't know if I retained much from that race. So
Yeah.
you might have to you're gonna have to bring me up to speed a little bit here and jog my memory.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely recall what happened in TCR. We might struggle a little bit in what happened in GS because I did not rewatch it this week. I've been rewatching indie stuff already since it's race week. So yeah, I have not gone back and looked at it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, for us, we had high expectations going into that one, like I talked about last episode, with that being Preston's home track. And, you know, just when we talk about the race in a minute, we'll get into how it just kind of we got in our own way and obviously got in some other people's way early, and it kind of we were fighting with one hand tied behind our back in the actual race. But the weekend itself, I thought I thought we were in a pretty good spot. We had some setup things that I didn't love in FP1, but once we adjusted in FP2, I thought we had really solid pace. And, you know, typical IMSA, I believe we were the last thing on track on Friday at like 7 p.m. And then we were on track 8 a.m. for qualifying, or I think it was 8:30 because I think MX5 had to qualify before us. So
Oh,
we
you
were on
get to
track at
sleep in.
8:30. Yeah, so a quick turnaround. And, I will say, I know you've never been to VIR, but Danville, Virginia doesn't have a lot going on. But the new Caesar's Palace there is very nice. And I did find myself at the craps table one night with other people from my team that I didn't know were there, drivers, and then a lot of guys from the Turner crew and drivers as well. So that is an upgrade, and probably the only IMSA track we go to that's near a casino. Oh well,
No, 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 no. You did
Toronto.
when you stayed at CTMP that one year.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah. So there was that casino there as well. So a little upgrade to your time in Danville, but yeah, I think qualifying would kind of set the tone for the day of how it might be a bit of a crazy day. So in TCR qualifying, we uh, luckily we were far down on the pit lane and we went out right away, and we would throw in a flying time, and I think only 5 cars total would have a flyer in before we would have a full course yellow from the Rockwell car being spun, and that really threw a wrench into a lot of people's qualifying plans. Obviously, with the tire, you're trying to grab the peak of the tire in qualifying, and you're doing that on that first push lap, which we were able to do, and cars behind us that had waited or just however it fell were not able to do. So we did get that session restarted, and some guys were obviously able to get some improvement times in, but ultimately it became a very nice qualifying for us. We were P3 when it went yellow, and we were hoping it wouldn't go back green again, obviously, when you're sitting in that spot. But we would still be rolling off 7th overall. So feeling pretty good. I believe that would be 3 races in a row where we're in the top 8 in qualifying. So really pleased with Preston. I mean, that was a spot where we really thought we could improve after, Mid Ohio kind of thing. And we'd had a couple bad qualifyings at Laguna and Mid Ohio, and Preston's done really well with that the last few races. So going into the race, Cupra looks like the car to beat if you're looking at the timesheets, right? Although Powell would not get pole, he would miss it by just a couple thousandths, honestly, from Bryson. But the Cupra had been very, very fast all weekend in both. I believe they topped the charts in FP1 and FP2, and then we're just a couple thousandths off of Bryson. And that's Bryson's just kind of shown that he really is the king of qualifying this year, with just extracting crazy 1 lap pace and grabbing the peak of the tire really well. So I think it bode very well for VGRT, especially going into the race. That's the car that you're looking at, that you're thinking, okay, that's the car to beat. And honestly, surprisingly, I was going in thinking the Audis were going to be really strong, and you weren't seeing a lot of great pace out of the Audis on Friday and Saturday morning, but the tables would turn once we got to the race.
Yeah, no, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but the Cupra and the Audi are a very, very similar platform, right? It's
Correct. So all the parts are the same minus bodywork. Yeah. I think there's a couple things in the front end that are different, but yes. And, depending who you talk to, a hatchback would actually be a more beneficial aerodynamic package than a 4-door sedan as well.
interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of it does. I guess it would make sense that the Audis could turn it on come race time then if they're quite similar. But I
Yeah.
hadn't even realized how close the VGRT Cupra was to pole. Like, yeah, 19 1,000ths of a second, just 2/100ths. That's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, that's about as close as you can get it. And the Audi, or I'm sorry, the Honda, obviously not very far off of that as well.
Yeah.
Then even and then I don't think Neto's time is really representative of the pace that car had, because they definitely were not one that got a good lap in on the peak of the tire. So yeah, I mean, I thought I thought that we were going to kind of be on the back foot a little bit with pace, but then you hear the buzz all weekend long and going into the race that everyone is struggling with tire dag, and so you knew tire dag was going to be a factor in the race. I know that Eversley, even on the broadcast, talked when he was in it. I can't remember if it was the NBC broadcast or the World Feed broadcast, but he's just openly talking about the struggles they were having with tire deg. And so okay, that's got to be all the Audis, right? You're gonna think, okay, it's probably the Cupras as well. And then it really VIR kind of over the last 2 seasons is like become Laguna as far as tire deg. So it was definitely going to be an interesting race from that perspective.
Yeah, and you, sorry, did you mention in the pre-race that the VIR is usually a track where you see this high tire deg, or is
I don't think I talked about it to the extent that everyone saw it.
yeah,
It honestly was worse this year than in the past years. And uh, the other thing is it was actually cooler than it all normally is there as well, which is
that's
strange. So,
true.
we were probably 15 degrees cooler than we have been the last 3 years of VIR. I mean, I know the last two were absolutely just scorchers. So, and then I think 2021 we ran really late in the year, like after, like near Halloween. But yeah, so for lower track temp and having higher tire deg, it was definitely uh, interesting.
Now, there's only one tire that Michelin has for you guys, right? I know in GTP, they have different compound types. There's only the one compound type that Michelin will bring to a weekend for you guys. Is that correct?
Correct, and it's been the same compound for at least 5 years now. It's been the same compound the whole time I've been doing it. They've tested with a couple different teams, a couple different times over the last couple of years. I'm gonna try to say couple a million times right there. A couple more tire compounds, but ones that they already not brand new tire compounds, ones that they actually already run in Europe. But so far, we're still on the same compound. And they're
It,
not going to change mid-season. That would only be something that Pirelli would do in SRO in the middle of the season, just randomly change compounds at, say, Road America. Yeah, that would be strange to do.
there's no salt, no salt detected there. I can
Not like
tell.
people had a bunch of old tires stacked up that they were hoping to run. Yeah, it's a great way to sell more tires is to bring a new compound in the middle of the year.
All right, so Aaron, not a big happy camper with Pirelli, but Andrew Kissinger did mention compound did change between 23 and 24. So you
Did
don't
it?
you
Did it, Andrew? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it did.
maybe.
I don't remember the labeling or anything changing.
Well,
Maybe
maybe
whatever.
maybe this relates to this issue, gambling issues coming back to you wanting to forget some of that. Um, oh, and then we have another we have somebody else in the chat that run tires produced in 23.
We run tires produced in 23. Okay. Uh, that's fine.
um, we'll get back on track here, I suppose. No, just
Well, it's not a
interesting.
gambling problem if you're winning, Andrew. Okay. All right. It's just an investment at that point. Anyway, continue.
It's an investment. Um, it's just interesting because you know paying attention to how sensitive like the tires can be in some other forms of motorsport. Like NASCAR, for instance, last weekend at Bristol, and how the tires can react so differently in different tire temperature or with different track temperatures. And
Hmm.
just really interesting that you mentioned that this hasn't been deg that you guys have seen in the past, but you go to VIR, it's a little bit cooler, and then how that could have played into that tire deg is all interesting. It's all
Yeah.
interesting stuff. But onto the race. Onto the race. Enough of the hashtag tire talk. Maybe Michelin will sponsor the show, and we can do a whole thing on tires for them going forward, and they
I
can
know a couple
answer.
Michelin people that listen.
You know what? They
Yeah,
they could actually put to bed whether the tire compound changed in 23 to 24. So
that's true. I need Jeff to get in here live and correct me on tires. Yeah.
moving on to the race. Moving on to the race. So VIR, a track that I mean, I don't think it has historically had a ton of full course yellows. probably my memory is historically more calm than Road America, for instance. But I think anything would be a little bit more relaxed than that. But we had to race day, and how did things kick off for you? Because it was a bit of a wild race for you guys.
Well, one interesting thing about VIR, if you talk about yellows, is the fact that there are no gravel traps at VIR. You either have grass, and sometimes you have a lot of grass, or sometimes you have very little grass and then a wall. So those are kind of your options there, right? And you would see both of those situations play out: grass with a lot of room and grass with little room as we would go into the race. But yeah, for us, rolling off P7, and Preston got a really good start in, and we were running P6 there. And I think we were probably there for 10, 12 minutes. Preston has a pack of three guys right behind him, including the 18 car, and then I can't remember who else was in that pack with us at the time. But yeah, for us, it was just kind of one of those things where we let one issue become multiple issues, and it wasn't really even an issue. We just let one mistake become multiple mistakes. So Preston misses the braking zone a little bit in turn one. He lets all three of those cars by him. Okay, whatever it is, what it is. That happens. It's fine. We'll be fine. We go. I'm telling him, well, let's just look ahead. We're eyes forward. Let's go. And in that situation, also the 52 car got by him. So that was the third car that got by him, right? And so, and then we're just Preston's trying to push, which of course any racing driver is trying to do that. And he saw an opportunity, and goes on the inside of the 52 car into turn three. They'd make contact, pretty significant contact, right? And the 52 car would be spun into the wall, and we would continue. But Preston's, saying the steering wheel's left hand down a lot, and he's asking us to check it for damage, and that would actually trigger a full course yellow. So, according to the stewards, that's our responsibility, right? We were given the drive-through penalty for it on the restart. Obviously not what we want to do, right? We're just out there trying to be as clean as we can in that first hour, and just bring the car in, play our strategy, play our game, and get it from there. So, it's the second race in a row where we've been hit in that first hour, and it's thrown our race into a loop. I obviously hate it for the 52 guys. Definitely was not our intention to go out and ruin their day whatsoever. And in turn, we really ruined our own day as well. So anyway, at that point, we gotta try to do what we can, right? So that triggers a full course yellow. That would actually would that be that would be a full yellow, right?
I believe so. It would have been close.
Yeah, because it's at 15:58. So
Yeah, it would have barely been a full yellow.
yeah. So at that point, the pit window opens, right? And we would come in and we would take fuel, and so would a lot of other people, actually. So I think only 3 or 4 cars would not take the fuel there. Some guys were even taking tires in that situation, with thinking about the tire deck. We did not take tires. We went fuel only. Obviously, you find out after it goes green again that you have the drive-through. So we serve the drive-through. At that point, it's just like, okay, let's calm down. This is a lap time number I need you to do. Let's just do these laps. We're going to get caught back up. It's going to be okay. And then if you look at the front of the field, the Cupra did not stop. That was one of the only cars that didn't stop, the 99 car. And they were already like checking out on everybody that first stint, right? And Eric was driving really well and would be checking out on everybody again. And this is when kind of the race goes into turmoil, when somebody else really missed the brake zone and would destroy the VGRT car's day yet again. Another bad weekend for those guys, and another DNF from no fault of their own, from getting plowed into by a backmarker GS car.
Yeah, a couple of GS cars getting together. They're just really wrong place, wrong time, right? Just kind of swept into that, and like you said, nothing that they could do, and you know, rough start to their journey with Cupra. I know we talked about after Road America, they had an incident in practice. I think you said, and then of course they had an incident in the race, and now there's this accident that they get caught up in at VIR. Another one that's just no fault of their own. It's been a rough go for them, but they're, as we'll talk about in a minute, they're back on the grid for Indy, and we'll be taking another swing at it. So hopefully,
Yeah, so
hopefully some of
yeah,
their
I
luck
just
will change.
yeah, I
Well,
hate
you're
it for
only
those.
hoping for their luck to change so much.
No, I mean I like Victor, and I'm friendly with Victor and Eric and Tyler, really, and Tyler's dad. So yeah, I mean that sucks, right? I mean, to get
Yeah,
taken out of the race in the lead when you're in a pretty handy lead at time, and have no fault of your own, and guys that are fighting for 18th or something in class wreck you. Yeah,
yeah,
that stinks. I mean, I've been in that position before to get wrecked out of the race when you're in a good position. Obviously, it's a tough pill to swallow. So yeah, so you've so you got a short yellow there, and then that kind of sets up, an hour and 10 minute, I think, sprint hour and 10 minutes to the end. So it's
hmm
going to go green there, and then there's some choices to make, right? And everybody in TCR but the 5 car, if I recall correctly, would just decide when it goes green to stay out and push it to the final fuel window. The 5 car kind of takes a roll of the dice there and goes, okay, well, there's been 2 yellows of 10 minutes here so far. If I can get one more, maybe I can make it to the end. And so they come in and do their final service there and get their pro in. For us, we kind of just playing the strategy that we thought was best for us. We're riding back there in 10th at that point. And Preston's saying the car is, really not handling well, and the tires are really falling off a cliff for him. So I'm trying to get him out of the car sooner rather than later when I could. So the pit window opens, and in my opinion, we got to do something, and we got to try to make a move. So we play the undercut there, and it would turn out to be a good move. I mean, during that pit sequence, we would go from 10th to 5th, and during the green flag cycle. So at that point, you're thinking, okay, well, this day isn't that bad now. And Dennis gets in the car, and he's doing obviously the fastest laps the car's done that day, for the 76 car's done that day. But almost right away, he goes, we're going to have an issue with tire deg. There's something more wrong with the car than just the standard tire deg. And so at that point, it's like, okay, well, we got a long way to go. We have like 49 minutes or something left when he reports that. So we're riding right behind Eversley, and we just really, at that point, are in tire save mode. We don't think we have a car that can attack, and we certainly don't think we have a car that can attack for a sustained period of time and keep the tire. So at that point, you just kind of stable there in 5th. You got kind of some big gaps from how the pit stop played out. I think the goo car was like 18 seconds behind us or something like that. And we're kind of just along for the ride there for a while. And then the race would get thrown on its head one last time when the 10 car, the Rockwell car, would have a issue and with the braking system, and go dead on in turn 11 and have a head-on impact, and that would bring out the final full course yellow of the day, and pack the whole pack back up and kind of reset the race. And for us, it's like, is that a blessing or a curse? Because you're like, okay, you know
yeah,
what? We give the tires a break. We can cool them down. We're going to get 10 less minutes of green flag running on them. Obviously, you're not seeing the tire. We were getting their data off the tire. You can't even see the pressures in a TCR car live in the in the car, even much less on pit lane. So it's really just purely off of what your driver is telling you for driver feel. And we'd go back green and quickly realize that we had no tires left. So for us, we would go backwards there, and we'd fall to 7th before the race was over. And post race, we would when we got the car back to the shop, we would see that there was obviously a lot of damage from the impact that was directly on the wheel, which caused the wheel to deg or the tire to deg extreme, even compared to our other car. So, Dennis was just kind of trying to do the best he can with driving a hurt race car. And then at the front of the field in TCR, it's going to get pretty wild, right? So somebody that was playing the tire management game really well would be the 31 car. So we talk about where's the Audi's been all weekend. Well, here comes the 31 car with Jaden Conwright, correct? And they were the last car to stop, so they're on the freshest tire. And I think what they did during that run was they were just riding around, purely saving the tire, waiting for a moment like this, and they would find themselves in a position in the restart. I think they started like 4th, and they would start fighting. And you have really this big like 5-6 car battle at one point, right? Because you have the 98 or the 33, the 98. We were there, the 93 cars there, the Cooper's there, or the Goo Cooper is there, and the Jaden Conwright's there. So we would kind of go backwards in that pack, and then you would see an issue where the 98 car gets spun around at the top of the hill there. No action was the call from race control on that one. So obviously ruins their day, right? So they're running second at the time. They fall all the way back.
Right in the championship fight too, right?
Yeah, they are the championship leader in that moment with having a pretty good points day, honestly, with us going backwards and the 93 car behind them as well. So they get put in the wall. Harry manages to get it out, but they're out of the race at that point, right? They're in P11th, and that's where they would finish. And you'd see the 31 car had the pace over the Hyundais, right? So he would get around Mark and pretty much just drive away with it. And then you'd see a nice little battle between Goo and the 93 car, which I didn't even notice because I was kind of watching our stuff and a little fed up with the day. I didn't even notice that the Goo car passed the 93 car for the final podium spot on the last lap. And I didn't notice it until I saw the Goo car come back from tech, and Eddie had a Michelin hat on his head. And I turned to one of my guys. I was like, why does he have that podium hat? I was like, and then I had to recheck the standings. I was like, oh shit, he passed the 93 car in the last lap and they didn't get a podium. So talk about a team that, I mean, just not even just the team, just the drivers themselves, like the big step and improvement that those guys are taking. Yeah, it's really impressive. Like, and I don't know who's coaching them over there, if they even have a coach, but the just obviously the team is taking a step with the Cooper in the right direction. The Cooper has a favorable 3-letter word right now, but they're capitalizing on it and driving really well. I mean, that should be 2 podiums really for them this season. Obviously, they had one thrown out. So, great job by them. We couldn't, once the 93 car got by us, he snuck right in there and went right with them when we were fighting him at the end on a dying tire. So, for us, just kind of, okay, a weekend to forget. But obviously the 98's issues is a lifeline for us in the championship, right? So, I mean, we went from having a day where we were going to leave, with probably a 70, 80 point, 90 point deficit to them to we actually left with a 20-point lead and only a 30-point lead to MMG, which we'll talk about points in a second. But talk about an insane tight championship with 4 hours of racing to go to decide it all. Pretty wild day. And, again, I mean, that's our worst day of the season, right? And it's still 7th. You're still in the top half of the field. So, I think that's kind of a testament to us. I mean, we're averaging our average finish is like 4.14 right now. So, just mitigating bad days as best you can and trying to survive. I mean, it's not the way I dreamt running for a championship, but this seems to be how the summer played out for us. So let's see if we can turn it around in these last two and go get it.
I mean, it's a long season. It's a matter of surviving, to be able to see the end of it. As much as it is, having success in the races, you got to have a lot of both to be there at the end. And like you were saying there, we won't fully jump into the points yet, but the other two that are right there at the top of the championship standings with you, there's everybody's had their ups and downs. You guys have actually probably had the most steady, the most steady sort of trend or string of results over the course of the season. So there's different
Well, and if
different
you
ways to
talk
get it
about
done, but
if you talk about staying out of trouble, right? So our worst finish of the season is seventh
mhm.
twice, and it's the two times that we've had drive-through penalties. Now,
Yep.
there's lots of other things that happened in those races, right? But like I set 13 goals for the team when we started the year for on my car, and one of the top goals is zero penalties all year long, right? And we did that last year, and we haven't done that this year. But both of our days this season that aren't top fives, you have a penalty in that race, right?
Yep.
So it's not a coincidence. So that's 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 part of it, right? You just not only the guys on pit lane, but in the car, just taking care of stuff. So we can't have any more. I mean, it's just if you want to be successful, you can't be playing on the back foot all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, Chris, I have arrived in Indy. This is the new Indy set. um
I
to
thought you were
to
staying at
kind
Andrew's house. That's why I thought he would just have welcomed you in. Really?
Oh yeah, true. No, I actually there was no vacancies. I didn't see his
Oh,
place on Airbnb, unfortunately. So
wow, gotcha.
Um, to kind of wrap up VIR, though, we'll give the full podium results here. We've talked about TCR with the RVA Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate Audi. We've talked about them the past few races. They've had a couple of good runs through this summer, and top their summer off with a win. So
Yeah, let
they're
me
not,
let me not glaze over their awesome performance. I mean,
yeah,
that's a team that's coming into the series this year. It's only their seventh race. They missed CTMP
yep,
and just had an abysmal start to the year. Right, just
mhm,
couldn't be worse. Had driver changes, all that stuff, and they put two really quick guys in there that go and get their first ever IMSA wins. I believe that is the first ever IMSA race win for a diversity scholarship winner in the past as well. I believe I heard that out for Jaden. So yeah, I mean, awesome job by Chris Valley and those guys at Speed Syndicate, and to get Audi its first win of the year as well. If you were looking, I'm sure if you go back to our pre-Daytona episode, I did not pick the 31 car to be the car getting Audi its win this year. So, I mean,
it's
just tip of
true.
the cap to them. And we'll talk about it in a minute. They're not at Indy. What? Come on, guys. But yeah, okay.
Can't keep that streak going. Or if yeah, second at Road America, and then up a step at VIR. Bringing it home in second place was the 33 Brian Harda Autosport Hyundai, and then rounding out the podium, as we talked about, by just under 4/10 of a second over the 93 Honda, was the 55 GU Racing Cupra. Cupra's first official non-taken away podium in the
Yeah.
Michelin Pilot Challenge.
And
In
as we talked about, that was a car that could definitely have won. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then
And
you
if you're IMSA and you're talking about BOP, that's four manufacturers in the top four, right? So
boom, Boom.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Well, people thought the BOP was going to change going into this race. I said, "You're crazy. You got all 4 manufacturers in the top 4. Of course, they're not going to change the BOP."
Exactly. On the GS side of things, we do have the RS1 Porsche, who will talk about championship implications of this race in a moment. After a couple of horrendous races for them, they find themselves back on top. I believe this is their third win of the season. When I was counting earlier, I'm probably completely wrong about
Yes,
that.
it is
Okay, good.
their third win, and then they have 3 more podiums to go along with that. So 6 out of
Yeah,
8 on the podium.
only
Yeah,
only the last 2 races, I think, where they finished off of the podium. So
yeah,
it's been an impressive season for them. Well, I mean, except for the last 2 races, but they've or the 2 races prior to VIR, but they got the train back on the tracks. They're picking up the win by just under 7/10 over the number 60 Core Motorsport Mustang. The Mustangs were strong this weekend. The 13 McCumbee McAleer Racing Mustang led the entire first half of this race, basically. And then I don't recall. I think they got caught out on a pit stop or something.
I believe it was a bad strategy call. Yeah, they would end up tumbling down the order, which would also really put a big, huge hole into their points championship aspirations as well, as they'd lose 150 points to RS1 on the day.
Yeah, that's a big hit. But as we've talked about plenty in the past when we're talking about the championship, GS is a big class, and if you have a poor day in GS, then it's really really going to sting you. So can't completely rule them out yet, but yeah, 150 points that's a big kick for them. And then rounding out the podium was another Core Motorsport Mustang, the number 59. So the top 3 in the GS class, they basically had a blanket over them when they crossed the line. Total separation there, 1.1 seconds between those top 3. So a really fun final stint to watch in GS. Although I do remember that battle. That's the GS battles coming back to me a little bit. The final, I think it was like 15 minute sprint to the finish.
It was great battle between those 3. Jan Halen made some nice passes to get the lead. I believe the TV producer thought that was the only class racing at VIR, because it was a lot of GS when you go back and watch the race. But no. So what can you say? Kind of. There were the door RS1 left the door open there for a couple of races, and you saw the 13 car really take advantage of it, as well with the 39 car, and then they basically slam it shut with 2 races to go, and I believe there are options on the table for them to clinch at Indy.
There are. We can jump into the point standings. So it is RS1 that leads there with 2,350 points. That is to the second place number 39 and number 13, the 39 BMW and the 13 Ford Mustang, who both have 2,110. So that's 240 point advantage there. So that's a hefty amount. It's a hefty gap. But like I said, there is, I believe that the GS swing is around that.
Yeah, but if you put 30 points on those 2 guys here at the next race, then you basically have clinched, unless the entry list just explodes. Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You essentially, if you're Carbon, well, if you're RS1, you got to approach these last 2 races with really a safety first perspective, probably, and make sure that like no unnecessary risks. You can always get caught up in somebody else's incident. Like we talked about the VGRT Cupra, and it's happened to a ton, if not everybody on the grid so far getting, caught up in somebody else's incident. But yeah, really these last 2 rounds for RS1 going to be about, keeping it clean and just minimizing any damage in these races.
I will say with 25 entries this weekend, I mean, that means somebody can score 50 points.
Yeah.
And somebody can score 3. So there still is a 300-point swing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a big swing, but play it safe.
Yeah.
Play it safe.
Finish 8th twice and you're fine. Yeah.
Exactly. We do also have, of course, the TCR championship, and that championship's not close at all, right? When we look at it, it's only
I commented on IMSA's post of the point standings for WeatherTech and said, "Oh, so TCR is actually the tightest championship in all of IMSA," and like just some guys started ripping me in the comments. I was like, "Well, it's actually quite true." Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're not saying that people on social media don't know what they're talking about, right? Is that?
Well, they told me I didn't know what I was talking about, which were like, why would I know? Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll leave that argument for another day, I suppose. The TCR championship is razor thin. It is the top 3 are separated by 30 points, which I'm sure if anybody is listening to this show, watching this show, you have a pretty good idea of what the point system is. But for perspective, that is a maximum of 3 positions on track. It's as little as 1 position on track, as many as 3 positions. So regardless of what happens, if MMG, for instance, were to win the next race, they would be leading the championship, even if you guys finished second and the 98 finished third.
Yeah, well, we would be tied in a tiebreaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes.
Which actually,
the point that I'm trying.
Well, I will say, but it was this tight. You really got to think about tiebreakers. And,
you do.
And really, whoever wins the next race has if it's one of us 3, has a big advantage because that'd be the first person to have 3 wins, which would give you the tiebreaker over either one of them.
Ooh, that's good. I don't even realize that. That's
because if not, you're falling into like the second, thirds, and fourths of tiebreakers and stuff like that. Which I know we're losing to the 98 on the tiebreakers right now, and then we're losing to the 93 too because they have more thirds than we do. So yeah. So that's how tight it is that you're going to the second and third levels of tiebreakers.
That it is. I didn't even realize that. And then in 4th place, let's not completely forget about the 33 that's lingering back there as well. If the 33 were to come out and put up a strong performance at Indy, there's no reason why they couldn't be in the discussion as we head into Road Atlanta. So this TCR championship has all the makings of a barn burner, and it's if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you're probably already following the Michelin Pilot Challenge at the very least. But it's going to be must tune into races these final 2 at Indy and at Road Atlanta, which I don't. Do we have any weather in the forecast for this Saturday? I've been keeping
I believe the weather and check it again. The weather looks very nice. Low to mid 80s and stuff all week. Yeah.
Okay. I know I was looking at this one point.
Where's our rain? Where's our rain race? Yes.
Yeah, they'll wait for the last race of the season at Road Atlanta, right?
Remember 2 years ago when it started raining, like the last 10 minutes of the race? Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Wait, for the Pilot Challenge race?
Yeah, it was like a heavy mist that turned into like a rain, and then it ended under yellow. Don't worry, my car had already broken an axle when we were out of it. But I would be definitely leaving something off the table if I did not talk about the last page of that point sheet that you're looking at, which would be the Manufacturers Championship. which
Aha,
would
yes.
be secured by Hyundai yet again. We can unless all 7 of our cars don't take the green flag 2 races in a row. That would be another Hyundai Manufacturers Championship. I believe they're 6th, if not 7th in a row. So, like I said many times, including the Daytona episode, that's our number one goal at Brian Herta Autosport. Goal number 1 is to deliver Hyundai the Manufacturers Championship. And we did that, and we're really proud of it. And 4 different cars contributed to that, with including a car that's a Cooper now. So, yeah, and actually,
That's true.
and Audi has actually jumped into 2nd in the Manufacturers Championship. So,
Ooh,
yeah. With Honda getting passed by the Cupra there. So anyway, yeah,
lots.
excited. We're proud to have done that for Hyundai.
I can imagine. I do recall, how big of a deal that was last year when you guys pulled that off, and
So
obviously
now the goal is to go. Now we can focus on the championship everyone cares about, the 76 car winning the point championship. Yes, that's right.
exactly. um, I guess we could. I guess if we want to talk about one other championship, there is the GS Bronze Drivers, and that's actually pretty close as well. It's a 90-point gap between Hugh Plum / Ted Giovannis and Christine Sloss. So there's something. There's some racing going on there as well.
There you go. That's
There's some
a battle
racing going
to
on
keep
there as
your eyes
well.
on.
All right, let's move on to Indy, shall we?
Let's do it.
Indy, and we have some news to talk about as always. If you guys have any questions, Angie says John Hyundai is proud, proud indeed.
Yeah. So 41 cars, man. I mean, talk about a killer entry list. And
yeah,
I really feel like Indy has become a lot like Daytona in Pilot Challenge, where everyone wants to be there. Of course, in 2023 it was like that because we had the 4-hour race. Still mad at you, IMSA, for taking away our night race at Indy. But yeah, I mean,
you couldn't see anything, but
well, who cares? It was really cool. Yeah, I mean, we were riding around with regular car headlights on.
It wasn't that cool to watch.
Oh, okay.
I remember watching it at the end and not knowing what was going on.
We had an onboard
you just
camera,
see
so I knew what was going on with our car the whole time.
Yeah, all you see is an Alpha off the track in turn 2 or whatever it is, and you're like, what's I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason why they never made the 6-hour night race. I guess that was the guinea pig, and it didn't work. But yeah, 25 cars in GS and 16 cars in TCR. We'll talk about TCR in a moment. That was one under what I predicted, obviously, from what we talked about a moment ago. Something we missed, and shame on us for not being good on our entry list for VIR, was JDC Miller Motorsports not on the entry list, and they are actually not on the entry list again and have taken the rest of the season off. If you check their social medias, they are done with the Porsche for the year. So was not the first time we've seen this from this driver pairing and this team. If you recall, in 2022, this is a quiz question that you would fail, and I will remember. In 2022, JDC won at Lime Rock, beating my car, for which would finish 2nd, and then be disqualified 5 days later. And
you're a little salty tonight, eh?
I remember that one too. But after they would win that race, they were out of the points championship, and they would take the rest of the year off. And they would not come back, and then they would come back with the new Audi the next year, and obviously fight for the championship, and then lose it the last round of the season that year, and then would go win it the next year. So I guess if you're in GS, that you should watch out for JDC, because when they take some time off, maybe they get it together.
Well, I mean, by that logic, you should probably watch out for them in 2 years, right? Like next year,
they're going to didn't win, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll come close next year, and then the following year, really watch out for them that following
There
year.
you
What's
go.
that,
Anyway,
2027?
Yeah, that's kind of a staple team in Pilot Challenge, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, then
I can't believe we missed that.
yeah, that was the when somebody told me, I was like, "Ooh, how did I miss that?" But I have not missed the return of Jesse Lazar and Motorsports in Action to the entry list. Was
Oh,
first time we've seen those guys all year in
sweet,
Pilot
sweet
Challenge.
McLaren.
Yeah, so two McLarens now with the Visa Farms, of course, who's been running their McLaren all year. We know MIA has been very busy with their tight partnership with McLaren in SRO with the launch of the McLaren Trophy Cup this year, and they've been running a lot of cars in that. But very nice to see them back on the entry list. And then we also have an interesting driver pairing in the number 60 car. Did you notice that one?
The 60, yes, that is interesting indeed. I'll let you go ahead.
No, you're the driver guy. You talk
Okay.
drivers.
So you do have Robert Nowaker and Cameron McLeod, who are going to be in that Core Motorsports Mustang. Robert Nowaker, you may recognize his name from just dominating everybody in
Stopping everyone in Mustang
yeah,
Challenge.
yeah, it's not even fair. It's not even fair. So he's making the trek up to the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and we'll be running in a car that I don't know if it was the 60 that finished second or third last time at VIR, but regardless, this is a podium caliber car, and he'll be joined by Cameron McLeod, who I am not as familiar with, but has
Well,
also. Sorry,
you don't know your Brisbane, Australia drivers very well.
I can't say that I do.
I don't know.
Can't say that I do.
I don't know who it is either, really. But Robert Noaker, very interesting. And I did read that if Robert Noaker is to win the last two rounds of the Mustang Challenge and get pole, well, he can break like a bunch of records. He could be the first driver to ever win every single race in any IMSA championship. Period. Doesn't matter which IMSA championship it is. No one's ever done that. Won every single race. He could also be the first driver to ever get poles in every single race and win every race.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's we're gonna have to come up with a new word than dominate. You just he no-wakered it, I guess.
Yeah, monopolizing. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, obviously a very strong lineup, right? With 25 cars in here. You have Copeland Motorsports back again with Townsend Bell's son. So we saw them last time. I believe one of these Turner cars has a new driver in it. But yeah, GS, I mean, 25 cars is awesome. I went and looked last year. Last year we only had 33 total cars at Indy. So we have that's plus 8 this year going into the race. So
and
I would expect some chaos from that because you're talking about a track. When I said there's no gravel traps at VIR, there's a lot of gravel traps at Indy, right? And if you go off the track, there is a lot of walls and a lot of gravel traps to find your car quite quickly.
Never mind the gravel traps. Never mind the walls. Turn 1 is going to be
that's where every yellow happened last year. That's where our season came to an end last year. That's where the 99 car that was leading, talking about VGRT's bad luck again, the 99 car was leading and taken out by a GS car again. So talk about Groundhog Day for them at VIR. So, yeah, 41 cars is going to be, and maybe not even on that first restart, right? But on the restarts after that where there is no class split, and especially if you're in the first hour and you have so many quick TCR cars getting quickly on the back of some of these GS cars, could be quite interesting. And the TCR cars are quite quick in the infield section of Indy. It really suits our cars better than the GT4 car.
That's a really good point too. You do have it's very twisty in that very twisty and kind of flowing in that first kind of sector, but until you kind of get to the back straight, when those GS cars would really be able to put the hammer down for the first time and maybe kind of pull away. But yeah, that's a really good point. The entire first sector of Indy, it could be very interesting on restarts.
And then
what about the TCR class?
Well, yeah, in TCR. So I had said it was going to be 17 cars. Because Hart obviously returns. Obviously that's a car to look out for, I think, because I've talked about all season when those guys actually come to the track, they have had very good runs, right? I mean, they were second or third in they're third in the championship after the first 2 rounds and just didn't have the budget to go to Laguna. Chad was in second place fighting for the lead when he was wrecked out of the race at Road America. So I'm sure he has revenge on his mind and trying to go put that one behind him and go get a good finish. So yeah, the only car we're missing is the 31 car, the previous race winner, actually. I have been told, not firsthand but secondhand, that there is a major wedding that cannot be missed. A real stew excuse.
Wow.
So yeah, that is why the car is not there, and supposedly it will be back for the final round at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. But obviously, there's one big change on here that would be the 10 car, and my friends over at the Rockwells have switched after being longtime Audi users since July of 2021 when they first entered the championship. They have switched to a new Hyundai Elantra N TCR prepared by, of course, Brian Herta Autosport for them, and they are taking ownership of it, I believe, tomorrow.
Boom. Taking ownership of it at the track, or are they stopping by the shop?
No, I believe Doug was driving. I believe Doug is in Indy now. Their car chief and race engineer and / truck driver, obviously. And I believe he's in the shop all day tomorrow with the guys, kind of getting a run through on the car. But yeah, it was a car fresh off the boat and prepped and wrapped and ready to go. So that would bring the Hyundai count back up to 7. So you can't hold us down, even when we lose a team, we're right back at it. And
you guys have actually come back stronger, even when after you lost that team.
And I'll wait for my commission check for that Hyundai sale from somebody. But yeah, anyway,
Sorry, I was going to say, I think that car is the one that ran at the Nürburgring, right? I think I saw Andrew had mentioned that car came over from Nürburgring. So
yes.
Cool piece of
that was the one. Yeah, which that's not the first time. That car normally comes over afterwards. And yeah, one of the BHA cars this year is also a Nürburgring car. So exciting stuff for the Rockwells. And of course, we're excited to welcome them into the Hyundai fold here. So, but yeah, I mean, talking about Indy and looking at these teams that have, either had good years in the past or have had good races this year. I mean, a lot of teams still hungry for that win, right? So, we saw the 31 car get Audi its first win of the year and become our 5th winner of the year. But I mean, I see a lot of cars on here that there's 2 races to go, and they definitely want to end it on a high note, right? You look at the 5 car for sure with those guys. Tim and Will were testing at Road Atlanta last week. So, they're putting in the work, trying to get ready. Of course, the 7 car has a few podiums, 2 or 3 podiums this year, but no wins as well. Obviously, the 52 car, which has had some great runs, has had just terrible, even worse luck than VGRT really this year. And Obviously, Goo's getting really spicy there as well. And like I mentioned before, Hart, which has one podium this year, which they inherited from the DQ and Sebring, but has had a lot of strong runs. And then, of course, the 99 car. So, there's a championship there with three, you can say four cars battling for it. But then you have this other fight where you have five teams, I would call it, that are really want to end the season on a really high note and get those wins and get those podiums. So should be quite entertaining, I think, these last two races in TCR, and you'll see kind of two different battles playing out, right? You'll see the battle for the championship, and you'll see the battle for finishing the season with momentum to carry on into the next season, which is huge. I mean, you saw we were in a rut at the end of last season when we knocked in a second place at Road Atlanta, really gave us momentum going into the winter that we propelled into, a victory at Daytona and the position we're in now.
There you go. There you go. It's a big weekend all around for the Michelin Pilot Challenge. But the Michelin Pilot Challenge isn't the only series that's going to be racing this weekend, Aaron. We are going to have, well, in addition to the WeatherTech Championship, of course, we will have the lovely Lamborghini Super Trofeos coming out for their last IMSA-supported weekend of the season. I believe that their only event left after these races at Indy would be the World Finals, which is going to be somewhere warm and sunny. That's not in North America. But there's 31 entries on the grid for that across their four classes. All the regulars kind of make up that. I think the Super Trofeos put on a pretty good show around Indy as well. These smoother tracks really do seem to suit them quite well. And then you also have the Porsche Carrera Cup. So we have 29 entries on the grid here. I do believe that they are at Road Atlanta for their season finale, supporting, of course.
No.
No?
They are at Road Atlanta, and then are at COTA the very next weekend.
Oh, okay. So they have 2 weekends left. Yeah, because they're supporting F1 at COTA.
F1.
Is it that late? Oof.
Yeah, but so yeah, they have to literally finish racing on Friday and take their trucks straight to Texas because the load in for F1 is super early. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the first time that they've had back-to-back weekends this summer. They went from Montreal to Watkins Glen, which is a shorter drive than Atlanta.
Yeah, they've kind of given a crazy schedule with this F1 support schedule they're doing of big gaps and then back-to-back weekends. Yeah, that'll be their second back-to-back. So yeah, there's still 6 races to go in that championship to decide it, which, as we've talked about before, is only separated by 2 points.
I did not have the championship points pulled up, so thank you for
putting
that in.
I do share a truck with Riley Dickinson in SRO, so I do hear about his points championship.
Yeah, you're up to date on the Porsche Carrera Cup. Okay, you're up to date on going.
Yeah. And ACI runs a lot of Porsche Carrera Cup cars, of course, as well. So yeah,
that they do.
Yeah, and those guys are actually on track Thursday. Lambos and Porsches are on track Thursday, and then racing Friday and Saturday. So yeah, their weekends get started pretty early.
When your first session is it on Friday?
Friday morning, yeah.
Okay, so you have 2 practices and qualifying on Friday?
No, of course we got to qualify at 8 in the morning. So we either qualify last of the day or first. So no, we're kind of done early on Friday. I think we're off the track by 2:45, and then we have an 8 a.m. qualifying and then 12:40 start time for the race.
That's not too bad then. That's not too bad. That's an interesting schedule. Qualifying Do you get is that normal that you guys qualify the morning of your race?
It's been like 50-50 this year. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, we did it at VIR. We've done it a few other places, but then like sometimes we qualify last thing on Friday too. Like CTMP, we ran 3 times on Friday, including qualifying at the end of the day, and then we didn't race till like 2:30. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
wouldn't remember that.
or
So
no, that one we might qualify in the morning. They kind of run together, but yeah, we've done both.
okay. Regardless, we do have a lot of racing that's going to be going on this weekend in IMSA Support Series land. Of course, the 2 races for Carrera Cup, the 2 races for Lamborghini, and then the Michelin Pilot Challenge race. So plenty of plenty of on track action going on there. But perhaps one of the biggest pieces of Support Series news that that has come out since the last time we spoke um, is about a series that we have not yet talked about tonight, and that is the VP Sports Car Challenge. Aaron, I know you texted me about this today, and sounded excited. So
Well, it's just,
you just
there's
want to
been
see
two
more LMP3s, don't you?
there's been 2 series that we've dogged all year, right? It's been Mustang Challenge and it's been the VP Sports Car Challenge. And obviously, Mustang Challenge has struggled with car count this year, and one guy has won every single race. So,
And the VP
like,
Sports Car Challenge just struggled with car count, and
yeah. And so, really, VP definitely struggled with car count. And so, we heard this announcement with really no details given at Road America. And now we get some details just today about basically 2 championships in one and an emphasis on the LMP3 cars. So yeah, it's quite interesting, right? So where are the cars going to come from? It's just my thought. I know when if you look back a couple of years ago when they had the 3-hour endurance races for the LMP3 prototype challenge is what it was called,
yeah.
and they had their mandatory 3-minute pit stops and all that stuff. And they would have, I don't know, what, 18 cars, something like that.
Oh, I don't know about
No,
that.
less. Okay.
I don't know. I remember watching some of those races at CTMP, and it was like a 4-hour race, and there were 6 of them ripping around there.
Oh,
So
okay. So maybe
yeah,
not. So now what they've outlined is you have basically 6 sprint weekends, which is a double header, right?
yep.
So 12 races there, and then 4 2-hour races that are not at non-IMSA weekends, that are at USAC weekends, but are sanctioned by or run by IMSA. So I assume that means IMSA is going to bring a tech trailer and stuff like that there. And those are 2-car driver lineup with some type of mandatory pit stop, obviously, in between. I don't know if that will be a time. I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty long timed pit stop that would allow you to change tires, not under full haste. So, yeah, I mean, I like it. I like trying new things. I like getting more enduros out there. I'm just very confused where the car count's going to come from.
Yeah, that's a good point because they're also introducing the new spec of LMP3 next year. So you have to assume that they're going to allow. You'd have to think that they're going to allow the previous gen of
There's no
LMP3s to continue racing, right?
there's no way they can't. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
to.
And
So
then
you're talking about
what are you doing
I
with that? Are
think
you BOPing them, like the 2 different ones, so that they can compete against each other, or do you have like 2 subclasses of LMP3 that are going out there in that case?
I would
How do they do?
where's our German LMP3 Cup expert Andrew to tell us I mean I'm sure they've been running them head to head in Europe this year. I'm sure there's some balance that they have to keep them tight. But
I don't know. How did they had this with MX5 Cup a number of years ago, didn't they? This was a while back
with the old car
between what was it, like ND1 and ND2 or something?
yeah.
And I thought they ran 2 different classes in that, but I could be wrong.
Maybe so. Well,
Maybe
so yeah.
have to ask around this weekend.
So you have like those LMP3 2-hour races are going to be standalone single class races. and it's going to have its own championship within a championship, and then there's a sprint championship, and then there's an overall championship. So I'll be interested to see what kind of traction they get. I know that there are a decent amount of LMP3s out there running on the HSR weekends, which has had its own LMP3 kind of pro-am endurance sports, or pro-am endurance races that they've done this year. So I'm guessing they're killing that and merging that into this. But I mean, if you look at the commitment monetarily, I think it's going to be a pretty big commitment, because you're talking about 10 weekends, and at minimum every time you're racing for 2 hours, basically, because you have either two sprints or a 2 hour race. If you're doing the 2 hour races, then you're okay. Maybe you could break up the money and have two AMs run it, but some people are going to be paying a pro to run with them, I'm sure. So, and then randomly, like one race out of the whole year is going to be without the LMP3s at
Well,
VIR, because
that's so you could save on budget, right?
right, yeah. So I don't still a lot of details to be ironed out. I don't like, from a fan perspective, does it pique your curiosity at all? Like, are you like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see what VP Challenge does now?
Look, I'm. This probably isn't the most popular opinion, but I'm a big fan of the LMP3s for
I
no
I I like the LMP3s. They sound good. They're a
exactly,
very cool car. I got to run
exactly.
one weekend, and it's quite a different car than being in a road car based car. It is a very downforce car. So yeah, it's a cool car.
And I also think that it serves it serves as a good prototype entry point for for a bronze driver in this case, that they could at least get their feet wet in an IMSA sanctioned series before jumping into LMP2. We hear all the time about bronze drivers that are, they're jumping in an LMP2 car, and you're like, where are they coming from? Maybe they have some HSR experience in an LMP2, but nothing really, quite like this. And this could provide a good avenue for some of those drivers to get some experience before making that jump to LMP2. So it could be valuable for that. I think from IMSA's point of view as well, I think you kind of look at how they've kind of treated the GTD-X class there, with the likes of Samantha Tan, who eventually wants to make the jump up to WeatherTech, but she's running that GTD-X class this year. So it does provide opportunity for maybe entries that either aren't ready for the WeatherTech Championship or another series to be able to still run their GT3 or a prototype in the series. But this is just the series that keeps getting tinkered with, right? Like, when was the last? It's been a while since there's been any real stability.
It's never not been messed with, from
Yeah.
Prototype Challenge being killed to this series being born to GT3s being added this year to now this change next year. So obviously IMSA is not satisfied with it, and which they shouldn't be. I
Yeah.
mean, they should, of course, they expect to have higher car counts than what they have in that championship. But I'm sure this is, IMSA normally makes all these decisions based off the feedback of the teams.
It's a
It's
good
a
point.
reason. It's a reason so many of the things they do, and John's really good about, thinking of teams and thinking of their budget and so on and so forth. And you've seen even SRO do that in changing their weekends for next year and cutting a day out of them for budgets and stuff like that. So, yeah. And honestly, if you want GT3 car count, I think you're going to struggle next year in this series to have a GT3 car count, honestly, because the changes that SRO has made for its championship next year, I think, is a lot more intriguing to a lot more people. And I think that's going to be the first real positive step you've seen that championship take in a few years, with going to the single 3 hour enduro. And budget wise, I think it's a really cheap championship to run for a GT3 car and a two driver lineup. So I think this is kind of IMSA saying, okay, well, we also offer different endurance championships with pro am drivers, right? We have Pilot Challenge, and if you want to drive something faster than Pilot Challenge, well, we still hold all the rights to LMP3. Here's some endurance races. Let's see what we got. But at the same time, you're paying all that money. You're paying IMSA money to not run IMSA weekends to some of those bronzes. That's a big part of it, right?
Yep.
To be there and to bring your friends and be like, hey, look, I'm here at the 24 Hours of Daytona and so on. So if you're in Sebring and
Well,
in at the last week of February, I promise you, it's not going to be that thrilling. There's going to be 3 people camping there.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're not there for the 24, but they're there.
Okay, I'm sorry. They're there for
The roar.
they are there for the Boy Scout weekend. Yeah,
The
you're
boy,
right.
the boys. Yes, you're right. So they have a ton of fans cheering them on
They
that
do have
weekend.
hey, I love that. It's a great little thing they do with the Boy Scouts. I'm not knocking.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see if it changes anything. I'm not gonna complain about getting to see some longer races here. Honestly, I feel when they went to Coda this year, when the VP Challenge went to Coda this year, wasn't it on the NASCAR weekend?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's changed for next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the same weekend as NASCAR. I was just looking at that calendar, so that's a little bit unfortunate that we lost that crossover, because that's kind of fun, whenever you can inject an IMSA series into another paddock
Well,
is
and 2 seasons ago, it ran in support of St. Pete IndyCar
it did,
weekend.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess they kind of have lost that edge they had too, where you went to a big non-IMSA weekend. Yeah, there's nothing really on that schedule there, but
I know what you could
somehow
do.
those guys can get 4 endurance races, and we can't get 2 more 4 hours added to Michelin Pilot Challenge and give us an endurance cup. I guess I need to.
You need to
I
go
need more
talk to
people
Mr.
to
Doonan.
start talking to John about that, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's the ticket right there.
There you go. You just said you gotta go and talk to John. Get it done. Get it done. Maybe we'll
I
get
literally
another.
had him next to me on a plane for 2 hours and definitely told him that idea several times. So he knows that I support that idea.
Clearly, not enough times. You have to come back to him with a petition, and
Yeah.
that fixes everything, right? um, that's all the news that we had to cover this week heading into Indy. Was there any other closing thoughts that you had?
Yeah, well, I mean, just talking about, I mean, we talked about entry list and all that. Just talking Indy in general. I mean, it's your first time coming, so you'll see it's just a really special place. The
Yeah.
first time I was ever there was for IMSA when they came there in 2023 for the first time, and I did the track walk that day and was just like, whoa, you're standing there on the yard of bricks and taking it all in, and you're like, okay, this is cool, this is special, this is different. And even though obviously it's not 350,000 people like they have for the 500 weekend, just every time you walk through the tunnel, this is Gasoline Alley and all those things, you're just like, wow, I am at a special place. It's very Daytona-esque in that way, right? I mean, I talked about it after Daytona. Standing in the Daytona victory lane was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. And yeah, I'm sure getting a victory at Indy will hopefully feel the same. But yeah, so special place, a place where I still feel confident about us. We went into that race in 2023. And Dennis and we led like an hour and a half of that race in a car from 2017 that was quite frankly outgunned and out BOP'd. And we finished 4th that day. And we left there feeling really confident about Indy. We went back last year. We thought we had a really quick car. Dennis never even got to show what he could do in the car in the race, obviously, because our race was cut extremely short. So yeah, I mean, this is one where I feel it's obviously a great track for the Hyundai. We saw it with the 1-2 finish last year, although that was definitely a different type of race, right? That was a pure fuel mileage race last year with 70-minute runs of green to the end on one tank, and awesome save by Mason, fuel save by Mason to win the race. But yeah, so we talk about how tight this championship is, right? And there's 30 points to this between first and third, and that's the difference between first and second. And we want to go into Road Atlanta with the advantage, right? You want to go in there with the points lead if at all possible and control your own fate. Number one way to do that is just go in the damn race. So that's our goal. Obviously you take what the race gives you, but to me, you got to play aggressive. There's no other choice. Not with two guys that are fighting with you just as hard as they can. Those guys aren't going to be taking it easy, and quite frankly, they have an upper hand on us every race, as they have two quick drivers, and we have a pro-am lineup. So just really excited about it. I mean, it's kind of just pinch yourself for me to still be in this situation. I know we've talked about it after every race for 8 races now, but to be here and to be leading the championship with 2 races to go, we're ready to go finish the thing, and we're ready to get some damn trophies. I mean, we haven't had one since Mid-Ohio, so we're on the longest cold streak we've ever been since we've been at BHA, and so the plan is to eliminate that. And I talked about all those goals that I set, and one of those goals I set was to get more podiums than we did last year. I mean, at this point, we'd have to get 2 more just to have a push. So, definitely don't want to go backwards in that regards. Of course, if we win the championship and go backwards, I won't care. But
yeah,
so,
you'll forget that goal pretty quick.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. Obviously, very exciting to have 2 BHA cars in the fight and have a great competitors in Harry and Mason and Megan and Andrew and all them on the 98 car. And then, of course, Carl, who's always been really good to myself and to Dennis in the 93 car, and that team in only their second year. That was a team that after 6 races last year, you go, what's going on with this team? They went from 2 cars to 1 car, and there's a split going on, and drivers are changing, all that. Now look at them just unlock the potential of that car that no one else has. And I called it whatever. What was that at after Watkins? I said these guys are going to catch us in the championship. It's going to be a 3-way fight, and that's exactly what they've done. So yeah, it's fun to go up against people you respect and people you look forward to battling with. But at the end of the day, hopefully we can have a really, really fun Saturday and enjoy it Saturday night, and enjoy some fine dining in Indianapolis Saturday night, and not angrily eating a pizza, which is what Dennis and I did on Saturday night last year.
Noted. Yeah. Yeah, you want to have a nice dinner on Saturday night. There's your motivation for the weekend.
Yeah.
We want a nice dinner on Saturday night. Just taking a peek at any comments before we head out. We had Turbo Snail got to hold a splitter from an Audi today. Whoa. We have Wardrobe that popped in. It says, just watched your intro to IMSA. Amazing. The newbies need this kind of info. Have fun at Indy. There is a Michelin Pilot Challenge video somewhere there as well. That if you're
that was like the birth of the podcast way back then.
Yeah. So there's some of that going on, and Wardrobe also agrees with adding in some endurance rounds. I believe this comment came in when we were discussing Michelin Pilot Challenge, or you were discussing Michelin Pilot Challenge and getting some endurance rounds in there. So yeah, there you go. You got somebody that's going to sign your petition already.
There we go.
As always, if any of you guys are going to be at the track this weekend, then keep an eye out for myself and And Aaron will be kicking around. Aaron will probably be easier to find because he'll be tied to a garage.
I'm in garage B, the middle one. Yeah, it'll be
means nothing to me.
Literally. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you'll figure it out. You look for the 76 BHA logo above the door, and you'll find the car there, and I'm either there or in the truck. Yeah.
I guess you guys are all in garages this weekend, eh?
Yes, that was very Canadian. Yes, and the annoying thing about Indy garages is that you do not park your truck in front of your garage, so you push a lot of things, a lot of distances to get to your garage and back. But yes, we are all in garages except the Lamborghini Super Tefeos, which are have done something in a past life to IMSA to anger them, and they're like way the hell away from everybody else. But us and the Porsche Carrera Cup and the WeatherTech guys are all in the garages, and the WeatherTech guys are in the F1 garages, and we're in the IndyCar garages.
Makes sense.
So, yep, come find us. I'm sure Stu will do a meetup. Come find him. Yeah, and Indy is a special place, and hope to see you guys all there. Obviously, it's a BHA's home track, and we're looking to put on a good show. We have a lot of guests coming from Hyundai's charity, Hyundai Hopes on Wheels, that supports children's cancer research. So we're excited to welcome those guys. You might have seen the 33 car has a special livery for this weekend with that charity. So yeah, big weekend for us, a big weekend for Hyundai, and hopefully a very good weekend for the 76 car. And then we can come here to my home race at Road Atlanta and put a bow on it. Let's see what we can do.
There we go. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again, and good luck to you, Aaron, this weekend. Otherwise, we'll talk to everybody after Indy.
Shout out to Stu's Wi-Fi at his Airbnb. Solid. I can't believe it lasted the whole time.